This podcast is a proud member of the Fan Hub 100. Football without fans is nothing, so we've partnered with Fan Hub to put fans first. Search Fan Hub app to play your part in the journey.
Welcome back to another Mackem in the Middle podcast. Lincoln really got positions yesterday in a game that did finish 1-1 with Callum McGee getting the goal for Sunderland. Both Peterborough and Hull also drew, so the point sees Sunderland remain in fourth. John is with me to once again talk about the game. How are you getting on, mate? You well?
Yeah, I'm okay, mate. Yeah, thanks, you.
Very good. Could be better after that, but again, we'll get into it. Obviously, we all want to see us win every game we go into. In reality, that's just never going to happen at any level, especially League One. So Lincoln are a good side. They're up there for a reason. And like I said, we will get into the game shortly. But all in all, a point isn't a terrible result.
No, it's not. And, games gone by with, under Ross and Parkinson, those are probably the types of games we may have gone one worse. We were overrun quite a lot yesterday, but, to still come away with a point, like you say, is probably not the worst. Don't get me wrong. When the final whistle went, I was fuming, as they say.
Yeah.
But yeah, sort of. You maybe just got to take this weekend, in isolation. We've had a lot of games to be played. Obviously, there was the Wembley. It was a bit of a slog, wasn't it? And obviously, Accrington in midweek again was another bit of a slog. So we can't have it all our own way, but it's important to stay in touch. And it's not like we haven't got Hull and Peterborough to play. So there may be the games that maybe a tiny bit more pressure than before with those games coming up. But I still fancy, but like you say, it's important that we don't lose and we keep. As long as we stay unbeaten, I think now until the end of the season, which is, what I was talking about on Wednesday, then we should be okay.
Yeah, and as I mentioned, all four sides in the top four drew yesterday. So while we will see it as a missed opportunity, because you always do, it's also a relief that when we weren't at our best, we haven't won the game, but nothing actually changed in terms of the position.
Yeah, you can look at it. You can look at it that way, but then you can maybe see it, as a slight, missed opportunity. If we win, I don't know if we actually went into second, but we'd be even more down Peterborough's throat than we are. Obviously, Hull and Peterborough played obviously weaker teams, whereas we played a side who are literally in and around us. So they're probably the result was maybe better on us. But I think that they'll still be looking at us. Obviously with how we're doing, and in fairness, we got a nice break coming up, which is I think what we need. Maybe get one or two backs. Jones and O'Brien could add to the squad maybe next weekend, and we go again for a tough run in.
Yeah. Looking at the team that did start the game, obviously there was a few changes again. Obviously Jordan Jones was still missing. I think there was a few more missing with injury, but Lee Burge in goal, Conor McLaughlin, Dion Samson, Luke O'Neill, and Callum McGee. Lyndon Gooch, Max Power, Grant Ledbetter, Carl Winchester, Aidan Mcgee, and Charlie Wyke. And again, not really sure on the formation that started. I haven't been for a long time now, but like I said, a few changes. Ahead of kickoff, was that the side that you would have started?
Probably not for me. I think we left Charlie Wyke very isolated, especially on a home game. When the onus is maybe on us to go at them a little bit. You've got Mcgee who doesn't seem to go anywhere near Wyke. He'll sort of stay wide or central, and maybe Gooch the same. And then you've got Winchester's an attacking midfielder. Sort of a holding midfielder. Sorry. And you've got him sort of leading an attack from midfield, which I don't think really suits him or really suits Scow, and it suits him on the press, which is different. But I didn't think we were attacking enough. I wasn't, don't get me wrong, do really like Grant Ledbetter, but I don't think he's the sort of player we should be starting in home games. And I thought on the whole yesterday, I don't think he settled us down at the right points. It was quite frantic, and they made us frantic as opposed to us controlling the game. So I wasn't impressed with that. And I just think at home, and I was speaking to someone on Twitter before the game about it and saying, we should be a bit more conservative. I was thinking, first start off, we probably were okay, but I think the onus is more on us to go and assert ourselves, at our place. And I think, with Ross Stewart scoring in, you could have given him 60 minutes and then brought him off. Say if he scores, if we go 1-0 up or 2-0 up, you can then bring him off, because obviously we know he's probably not going to last, 90 minutes. You could bring him off for, a Ledbetter or a Winchester or a Scow, and then you can protect that lead. But it was a little bit, just sort of a little bit went the other way for me, especially at home.
And Aidan O'Brien obviously comes in for a lot of criticism as well, because even myself, I don't really know what he offers to the team when he plays, but when he doesn't play, that's kind of when you do realise what he offers. Because like you said, there's no one getting near Charlie Wyke. Aidan O'Brien will always be near him. He'll hold the ball up, he'll run the channels. And do you think it could have been a different game if O'Brien was fit yesterday?
Yeah, maybe, but again, we've got an option there in Stewart that worked the second half on Tuesday. If we are gonna lump balls and we are gonna put balls in the box, we need players. You can't just have Charlie Wyke in there. He's going to be so isolated, and if he's going through, the last few games, he's probably been half marked, totally out of the game because he's been so isolated. Whereas, second half against Accrington, you put another person next to him, which was like Aidan O'Brien, then you seem to get the best. It doesn't always look easy on the eye of what O'Brien's doing, but he sort of runs on the inside channel, sort of almost alongside. Like Wyke's obviously the central striker, and O'Brien almost runs just to the right of him, so it gives those centre backs more to think about. There's more space for Wyke to run into, but we're not. Like I said, we're isolating Wyke a little bit. I don't know if maybe we can sort of slot in instead of Winchester yesterday, in that attacking role. Maybe a thought could have been put Mcguire in there and just tell him just to hover around Wyke, and picking up those loose balls that if he does, because we were lumping a lot of balls into him, and it was maybe dropping off or he'd win the odd one. And there's no one around him. If you isolate him, obviously we're getting to his performance a bit later on, but he just wasn't doing anything, and that you're just going to invite, especially with an attacking side as Lincoln, who did on the break look really good. We were giving him those opportunities as opposed to them making them for themselves. We were letting them do that because every time we put the ball forward, he wasn't holding it up due to the system and due to his performance, and it was just coming back at us, and we put ourselves under pressure, obviously, which frustrated us.
Yeah. And the one last thing I'm going to touch on before we get to the game, which again is a topic on these podcasts, especially in League One, is again just the refereeing. Because I know I've said it a couple of times now about it being the worst refereeing performance of the season, and it always seems to come after a bad result. But just the decisions he made yesterday just didn't make any sense whatsoever. I think there was a video someone put on YouTube after the game of Ledbetter arguing with the referee in the tunnel, because I think it was in the first 5 minutes, Carl Winchester's threw on goal. Their last defenders pulled him back, swung him round. The referee hasn't given anything. If he gives that, maybe if it's late, maybe because it's early in the game, it's not a red card. But later in the game, I think he's probably going to give that as a red card. You've got the handball on Mcgee where he's threw on goal, where he just guessed at it because players claimed for it. It was just and obviously I think allegedly he was a Hull fan as well. It was just a weird refereeing performance, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. I'm sure. I don't really take any interest in personal referees, but I'm sure I've seen him before. I remember, he was dreadful, and he was dreadful from minute one. Like you say, Winchester gets clearly pulled.
It was for both sides as well, wasn't it? It wasn't just
yeah.
someone, it was for both sides.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I don't think Winchester's in. Anyone's obscuring his view, but he doesn't see that, which is fine. Okay, if he doesn't give that. But then you tell me how he's seen Aidan Mcgee handball it, because Aidan Mcgee is on the turn towards the goal. You tell me how he's seen him handball it.
I think there's a Lincoln player between them as well, wasn't there?
Yeah, because even when the camera, I think they showed it, Danny and Frankie, when they showed it from the other way, it doesn't go anywhere near his hand. And why have we got a linesman on the right hand side? What's he doing? Because he would
Yeah,
be ball watching. He would see where the ball's gone. He would see whether we're getting. He should be easy to say, no, he hasn't touched it with his hand. Let him play on. Do you know what I mean? So, but we're
yeah,
saying it, and not just saying it because of the result, because I think it probably was a fair result. But yeah, the
mm,
refereeing as a whole, was dreadful. He spent how many minutes did he spend with Lee Johnson sort of with him, and then checking on Aidan Mcgee if he's got the ball in the right
yeah,
place, and do you know what I mean? And didn't add on the correct time at the end because of massive head injury, and then loads of subs, and yeah, just again, the sooner we get out of this league, hopefully the better. But yeah, absolute shocking performance. But then again, he's a League One referee. That's what we've come to expect.
he is. Well, the first half got underway, and again, it wasn't a great half at all, really, for Sunderland from a performance point of view. Wasn't really great for Lincoln either. Neither side really created too much. They didn't keep possession in the right areas. Obviously, a lot of the ball was kept in the middle of the pitch, with neither side looking too dangerous. But for the first time in a while, we looked a little nervous defensively. O'Nien, I think you did on Wednesday as well. Every time he got the ball, he just looked like reluctant to pass it. He wanted to move forward with it and lost it. He did that again yesterday. But he just looked a little nervous at the back.
Yeah, I think there's been a few times, where we've played teams who haven't pressed us, and I always think if teams do come and press us, we're playing with a centre back who's not a centre back. If they did actually press us properly, then a few cracks would probably start to show. But because maybe we've had it, we've played the lesser teams, and obviously Tranmere at Wembley, it's a team below us in the league, different league. Sorry, maybe we've had it too easy. And not, I don't want to say complacency, but that confidence to think I could bring the ball out and I can step across people and I can, what I mean. That maybe just Lincoln might have seen that on the videos from the recent weeks that we've played, and thinking if we press them and we press them quickly, which they did, to be fair, then they can be got at. You've got to be slightly worried when we come up against maybe Peterborough with a bit of pace, because
Yeah,
our defence is not blessed with pace.
yeah,
Maybe just sort of Sanderson is one of the fast ones, but yeah, McFadden, McLaughlin not the fastest, and obviously 09. When it's all going well, it's he looks a class act back there, but there's going to be times where he's going to be a bit nervous, bit overrun, and that type of thing. But that's what we're dealing with at the moment.
yeah. Well, 40 minutes into the game, Sunderland did take the lead, and it's probably the one player you'd least expect it from. Obviously, Max Power got the ball on the right-hand side. He was in midfield again yesterday. He clipped the ball into the far post. Callum McFadden to head into the far corner. And one thing that definitely changed when Johnson arrived is the number of players in the box, the area of crosses going into the box. You've got your full-backs like Callum McFadden's at left back yesterday, or possibly left wing back again, not sure on formation, but he's high up the pitch, he's in the box. And a lot of our goals this season have been as a result of that.
Yeah, that's the thing. When Johnson came in, I think he said in one of his, might have even said it in his open press conference, that looking at the previous games and the stats, under Parkinson, there was sort of one or two. And if you are putting balls into Wyke, who probably wasn't on top form and full of confidence, and there's only him and someone else, chances are you're not going to score. And obviously delivery. I think a lot of it comes from coaching. The delivery of ball. We've got the players who can deliver, but it's got to be to the right areas, and those players have got to know, where to be. It looks yesterday probably straight off a training ground. If we've got it on the right hand side, you'd expect your two people on the left. Mcgee isn't going to come in at the back post. You wouldn't have thought. So then you've got to ask, your left back McFadden to then cover that area. I'd expect the other side. If we're crossing from the other side, maybe McLaughlin to be sort of on the edge of the box and maybe running in. So you've got those options, and then it makes it harder for the opposition to, they can't pick everyone up. And like you say, we've scored a lot of goals with the box being sort of crowded out. So
Yeah,
that's a good coaching thing, and it's a good thing going forward.
yeah. Well, half-time arrived. Obviously, we were unchanged for the second half. And just again, never really got going. A lot of the things that we've seen under Lee Johnson, we've moved the ball quickly, efficiently forward, used the wing players, got ball into the box, but we didn't really do that again. And 15 minutes in, they did equalise. Callum Morton, he got the better of O'Neill and he spun past him, put the ball past Lee Burge at his near post. And again, just a very cheap goal to concede considering how good we've been defensively recently. And I think it was 8 hours or something prior to yesterday with not conceded a goal.
Yeah, very cheap one. You could say, we were maybe a tad lucky midweek with Accrington, missed some, if Charlie White's missing those chances, we're absolutely screaming. 09 misses a free header in the box and everyone sort of, that's a shocking miss. But yesterday, Luke 09 gets turns, maybe a little bit too easy and can't on the edge of the box. He probably takes a foul there. Obviously can't because he's in the box and gives away a penalty. And it's just, to be fair, it's a good finish because you're going to expect him to go to the far post where Burge is probably going to dive and slots it in. But cheap, quite a cheap goal to give away. But again, they probably did deserve it, to be fair.
Yeah. Well, after the goal, after the equaliser, Lee Burge was called in action a few times. He's made a few saves. Can't remember Palmer being tested too much. Obviously, Chris Mcguire came on as a sub. I think in the first minute or so, he had an effort deflected just wide, but just couldn't find that final pass. And when they did on the occasion, they just couldn't find a finish. Obviously, we've mentioned Charlie White. He didn't have a terrible game given the lack of service up to him, but again, he didn't have a great game, and a lot of that is probably down to the fact there was no one really around him. But it did finish 2-2, and like I said before, nothing has changed in terms of the table. It's almost like that game never happened.
Finished 1-1 though.
Yeah. Don't know why I put 2-2. Nothing has changed in terms of the table, but it just adds that little bit more pressure to win next week.
Yeah, it does, and maybe it's Johnson maybe thinking, it might be a little wake up call. Maybe that we're not. Don't get me wrong, we're absolutely flying at the moment, and everything's going well. But every now and again, you need those little, just those little kicks up the arse to think, you've got to keep working. Nothing's going to be handed to us, like we know as Sunderland fans. Nothing's handed to us. We need to absolutely earn everything. Mr. Barton next week, he's going to be on the absolute wind. Yeah, he's going to be on the absolute wind up again. He'll be talking about us all week. Obviously, Johnson will have to respond to that because they'll ask him about it. So we'll, it's about, just doing our job, doing it professionally, and just getting those 3 points by hook or by crook. And Bristol Rovers, the sort of team we probably owe them one for the last time we were there playing them because that was dreadful. But these are the teams we need to go there. And just get 3 points, like I say, by hook or by crook.
Yeah. Well, we will move into the player ratings. And we will start with Lee Burge, as we always do. And like I said, he made an important save in the first half. You look at Sherwood for large parts. You could question him slightly for the equaliser, but wouldn't blame him for it. Made some big saves in the second half. I went with an 8 out of 10 for Lee Burge.
Yeah, same. I've gone with an 8. Like you say, I think second half he made 2 top saves to keep us in it. Obviously, he wasn't always called into action. So when he is, and he's nice and sharp, that's the sort of thing we're looking for. But I don't think he could have done anything really with the goal because you'd expect someone there to stick it in the far corner, and he's obviously gone near the post and just wrong-footed him. So yeah, I've gone with an 8. He was very, very good yesterday.
Yeah. Conor McLaughlin obviously started again, and just at times he looks very complacent. I think there was one time in the first half he was beaten far too easily, and just kind of jogged back. And we'll get on to McFadden, but it's very similar to him. And I know they're not both blessed with pace, but they don't always look to even be making that much of an attempt to get back in front of the ball. I went with a 5 for McLaughlin yesterday, possibly harsh, but yeah.
Yeah, I'll probably go with. So I did actually have a 7 down, but you probably reminded me about a few moments. I'll probably go for 6. I thought he was okay in possession, but like I say, a couple of times, just we maybe just need a little bit more, a little bit more from him. But yeah, I'll go over 6. It wasn't really anything of of anything. I think he chopped their player down second half and took
Yeah.
one for the team. So yeah, I'll maybe I'll give him the benefit of the doubt this week.
And Dion Samson once again started, and he did his job without being tested too much. He showed his pace at times. I know he slipped at once when I think Lee Burge was called in action again. Didn't really have any fault in that. So I went with a 6 again for Dion Sanderson.
I've gone for 7. I thought he was all right. I thought the slip was unlucky. The
Yeah.
guys just ran him and just sort of bounced off him. So that was the only real mistake I saw. Apart from that, I thought he dealt with, like I was saying, the last few weeks we probably haven't been as tested as we should have been. But he was obviously tested yesterday, and I thought he stood up to the task quite well. So yeah, 7.
Yeah. Luke O'Nien, I think he just struggled a lot yesterday, both physically and at times positionally. And like I said, he is possibly at fault for the equaliser. He's just been turned far too easily. He is close to his man, but not really able to get the ball from him. I went with a 4 out of 10 for O'Nien, but probably edging towards a 5 because I think 4 is quite low. But I'll go in between. I'll say 4.5.
I've gone with a 6. I thought he was still, I thought he was still okay. I just thought a couple of moments he just looked a little bit shaky, and I put that maybe down to them putting a lot more pressure on us. But yeah, I wasn't going full. He's absolutely rubbish back there. Like I've seen some people, but yeah, like I say, yeah, look shaky. Turned too easy for the goal. That was a frustrating one. But yeah, I've gone for 6.
Yeah. Conor McFadzean obviously got his second goal of the season yesterday, his first in the league. But again, as we've seen by McFadzean a lot, he miscontrolled the ball a lot, especially in the first half. I think it was 2 or 3 times he just let the ball go under his foot, out of play for Lincoln throw, when they're the type of positions that we are good at going forward in. We switch the play, we get forward, get a ball into the box, and that's how Charlie White scored a lot of his goals. But he still looks nervous defensively again, as I touched on with McLaughlin. There was a few times he was beaten far too easily and just kind of jogged back into position. And again, I don't know if that's because he is just incredibly slow or whether he is generally just jogging back into position. But purely for the fact he got a goal, I went with a 6. If he didn't get the goal, I would have given him a 5. But we'll go with a 6 since he did get the equaliser and got us a point.
I probably would have given him a 7. But I've gone for 6. Like to say, decent header. I thought going forward he was okay. Probably we know he's a limited footballer, so you have to sort of mark him in isolation. But I thought all round he was okay, but he gets marked down by 1 because I thought late on he bottles the tackle in the corner. And that's
He had
the
the
time
momentum as well, didn't he?
Yeah, Lincoln are on top, and you'd expect, I'd even expect him to take a foul there, just go and smash him, the ball will go flying, and the bloke won't think twice about coming near you next time. And that probably rouses the rest of the team up. But yeah, for me, it just seemed to bottle it, which annoyed me. So it would have been a very high 7, but I'll put him down to a 6.
Yeah. Max Power obviously got the assist for the goal. It was a good ball in. He kept the ball moved well in the middle. There's still a few times where he's playing the wrong pass, making the wrong decision, or just not making the pass that he's looking for. But I went with a 7 for Power yesterday. Again, a lot of that is down to the fact he got an assist. But 7 for Max Power for me.
Yeah, I've gone for 6. First half, I thought he was busy. Like you say, good assist. Second half, I must have been watching it on my own, but I thought he was dreadful. He gave the ball away, especially last 20 minutes, and we were pushing. I thought he was really, really poor and probably cost us, getting some good chances together. Just simple passes that were just going to the other team. So that really annoyed me. But like I say, it's games have come thick and fast. They've all played 90 minutes, and I'm not going to go too hard in on them. But yeah, I've gone for 6.
Yeah. Grant Ledbetter obviously started alongside in midfield with Max Power, and again kept things ticking over. And defensively he was okay. He broke up Lincoln's play well, but again, as we say a lot with Ledbetter, he just wasn't able to have much of an impact on the game going forward for Sunderland. Obviously, he took off for, I think it was Ross Stewart in the second half, as Sunderland did try and get the goal, but it never happened. I went with a 6 for Ledbetter, probably a very low 6.
Yeah, I've gone with a 5. I thought, yeah, like you say, little bits of play did break up, but I just think at home, it just slows the play down just a little bit for me.
Yeah,
And yesterday, I thought, there were times when we needed to slow the play down, but he didn't. He was slowing the play down for me at the wrong times. There were times when Lincoln were probably out of position a little bit, and we'd turn back, recycle back to centre backs, and it's like we got to take our moments there. Especially in the first half. Those are the sort of passes I'd expect them to be finding, but yeah, it wasn't really happening. I'm not a fan of him starting at home at all. I'd much rather see Winchester in there, a little bit more forward thinking, a little bit more. He's still gonna break up the play. He's still gonna find the forward passes, and then maybe we could put someone in. We're almost covering for Leadbitter almost with having Winchester in there as well, because obviously we've got power in there. I don't think we need to be like that. We need someone to be in between who can switch and then put Winchester and power in the middle. But yeah, Leadbitter not for me.
yeah. Carl Winchester again was also in midfield. He did play further forward. He was in an attacking role, I suppose. Obviously, it was still kind of a box-to-box role. He looked comfortable at times. He looked uncomfortable at times. Especially in possession, he was all right. Was always up for battle. Went with 6 again for Carl Winchester.
Yeah, same. Yeah, same. Like I said, work hard further forward, but struggle to create anything. And in fairness, he's not a proper creative midfielder, so he's not really gonna create anything up there. Different if you're playing a team who are going to constantly play like maybe Portsmouth and trying to attack us because we can be on the press, and that's a good thing to have, like that position that Scouten plays. But I think we need someone a little bit more, who's going to get closer to Wyke and actually link up with Wyke a bit better. So yeah, I've gone with 6.
Lyndon Gooch obviously started on the right, and again, just for me, I think it was just another frustrating performance from Gooch. There was times where he was dispossessed far too easily at times. I think there was once where Mcgee's put an over the top ball through to Gooch, he brought it down, but just couldn't quite get control of it. I think obviously he was asking Mcgee to play it further ahead because Lyndon Gooch he's a quick player. He does like to run onto the ball as opposed to run with the ball. But he didn't manage that. His decision making was poor at times, so I've went with 5 for Gooch.
Yeah, same. Not really in the game. And try. He did try, to be fair, but I haven't been impressed with Gooch for weeks. Obviously, he got the goal at Wembley, and that's probably shadowed his performances the last few weeks. And if Jordan Jones is fit, I don't think Gooch is probably starting, and maybe is a little bit more of a better impact player. But he certainly needs to, maybe this little rest will do him good. Like we say, come back from injury, and he probably hasn't really had a break. So yeah, nice break for this week, and then we'll go again Saturday and see where we are.
Yeah. And Aidan Mcgee was the last midfielder or winger or however you want to look at it, but missed a great chance in the first half to take the lead before we did. I think he's cut inside on his right foot and just blazed it wide and high of the bar. Put some decent balls into the box, but nothing overly special for Mcgee in regards to what he is capable of. Obviously, he was penalised for a handball that was never a handball. He probably goes through, gets a shot on target at least, if not scores it and wins the game. So that is frustrating. But I went with I'll go with a 7 for Mcgee, but borderline 6, 7.
Yeah, I've gone for 7. I thought he was actually a constant threat. Like you say, unlucky not to score. And the suspect handball, not suspect because no one could prove to me that he did touch it with his hand. So a bit unlucky with that. Maybe expect him to do better when he cuts inside. Just get your shot on target. But I thought, especially midweek, he was a bit anonymous. And he was all right yesterday for me. So again, another one, nice break. He doesn't really come off very often. So yeah, nice break for the week, and then refreshed for next week.
Yeah, we'll quickly touch on the subs as well because why not? Obviously, Josh Scowen came on.
You don't want to bash Charlie Wyke first.
We will bash Charlie Wyke, actually, won't we? We might as well. Yes, 5 out of 10 for Charlie Wyke given. Just didn't really have any impact on the game. Obviously, like I said, no one was near him. He didn't win too many headers. I think the most impact he had on the game was kneeing their centre back in the head. That's the only thing I remember him doing in the game. So I'm at the 5 for Charlie White.
Yeah, same. You know what I mean? We'll probably go, two ways with this. He was very isolated, but I'm still expecting a bit more. He's in absolute fine form. Not expecting him to score, every single game, but he's got to start proper bullying these defenders. And I thought yesterday he looked a little bit half-assed. That's probably a little bit harsh, but just for me, it wasn't. It just didn't seem very very up for the game, and I wouldn't have been surprised to see him come off and then leave Ross Stewart up top on his own and just get Wyckoff and give him a breather and stuff. But yeah, I wasn't impressed at all. Just with his pressing, hasn't been there for a while now. We need to maybe go back to the drawing board a little bit, with how good he was with Aidan O'Brien. But we maybe need to start thinking, if Aidan O'Brien's not always there, we need someone else who's gonna play up alongside him.
Yeah. Josh Scowen came on as a sub, and I think it was straight after the equaliser. I'm not entirely sure when, but I think it was pretty much straight after Lincoln did score. He ran around, made some blocks, just did what Josh Scowen does really in midfield. So 6 for me. Did nothing special, did nothing bad really.
Yeah, same. Yes, quite standard performance. Good with the press, a lot of energy. Would be unlucky maybe not to start, but yeah, he was okay. I'm sure he'll be back in the starting lineup next week.
Yeah, Ross Stewart came on, won a few headers. He looked for that looping header again. Pretty soon after coming on. Sorry, but again, just didn't really have any impact on the game. So yeah, again, 6 out of 10.
I went for 5. I didn't really think he did anything. The headers he won were sort of like down on the touchline, which sort of pointless headers. So yeah, I'll give him a 5.
Yeah, and Chris Mcguire came on, and I give him a 7 out of 10 because I thought when he came on, he looked a threat. He wanted to get on the ball. Obviously, he had that effort that was deflected just wide, and he didn't look as reluctant to go forward as he has been a little bit. There's times where he'll prioritise keeping the ball as opposed to having a shot or playing that forward pass or the killer pass. I think he looked for that a lot more yesterday when he came on, and for me, I think I'd probably start him at the weekend because I think he just offers that little bit different creativity than what we have with Lyndon Gooch, with Aidan Mcgee. So I went with 7 for Mcguire when he came on yesterday.
Yeah, same, went with 7. I thought he was very good. Like you say, we could probably do with starting him next week, and maybe it's with him just keeping the ball is maybe a word in his ear from Johnson to say, like, what do I need to start? And everyone's saying, look, you just need to keep the ball a little bit better. So even though we're attacking in its last sort of 10 minutes, he's still got that on his mind, as opposed to a Mcgee who's probably going to go and attack somebody, and maybe there's a chance he's going to lose the ball. So maybe he's got that in his mind for the start. And like you say, he's probably going to have to start, very soon, I think, because the players at the moment, even though we're doing well, are not, I wouldn't have said firing on all cylinders.
Yeah. And the man of the match for the game, I did go with Lee Burge, as I said, made some big saves. Probably the reason we got a point in reality. And obviously I'll give him an 8 out of 10, so I kind of have to go with the rating. So Lee Burge, man of the match for me.
Yeah, same with me. He was very good. Got a very good record as well. So yeah, long may that continue.
Absolutely. Well, the next game is Bristol Rovers against Joey Barton, which you did remind me. I completely forgot he was at Bristol Rovers. But predictions for that game?
Scrappy 2-1 win.
Who can score?
Let's have McFadden again. He can get to him too. And we'll have Charlie White's going to shove those words down my throat again.
Charlie White and Callum McFadden and a 2-1 win. Hopefully that is how it works. But that is all we have time for today. Appreciate you coming on again, John.
No worries. Thanks for having me as always.
That's all, folks.